Welcome in to Inside Carolina's On the Beat Live Thursday night, 9 o'clock. I'm Tommy Ashley. That's Ross Martin, Adam Smith, and producer John Bowman. We got to get you some background, John. Just looking at that. Anyway, we'll discuss that later. Sponsored by Johnny T-Shirt, JohnnyT-Shirt.com. Visit them, check them out. Baseball season's here, starts tomorrow. Go get a baseball jersey and head over to Bosch-Hummer Stadium for Tar Heel baseball via Johnny T-Shirt. Ross, you first. North Carolina, NC State on Saturday or Sunday. Greg Barnes wrote an article, basically said it's a must-win game. I think we're at that point, right?
Yeah, there's not many left, Tommy. 5 games left. They're on the bubble, right? Last 4 in, round the bubble, one of 2 last 4 teams in. So every game's important. I don't think there's much room for error. Adam looks at the numbers more than I do on that stuff, but this will be a big win. This will be quad 1 win, I believe. Not a big quad guy, but them being ranked in Raleigh, that would register as a quad 1 win. So this would be a huge win, huge opportunity. A lot of opportunity on the schedule, but there is little room for error now following the loss to Miami, coming off the Clemson win, but before that, losses to Duke, and who was after Duke?
Wake Forest was in there somewhere.
Wake Forest, yeah, Wake Forest. So
it is. I can't keep up with it. It's crazy. Clemson loses to Carolina by 20, turns around 3 days later, beats Florida State by 40.
Damn.
I mean, what in the heck is going on in the ACC? Adam Smith, we had officially my football term must-win time for this basketball team.
DEFCON 1. DEFCON 1. I should have worked on it. I didn't even plan on doing it. I should have worked on that voice. Covered up DEFCON 1.
I thought 5 was the worst.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
I don't know.
The other way around, right?
People in the chat. Know. I mean, this was not workshop. This is all off the top of my bald head. I think there's good news and bad news. And the bad news is obviously that UNC is in this position and they're 16-10, and they very well could miss the NCAA tournament. It's true. The good news is if they win these games, I do not think they will. Well, they won't miss the NCAA tournament if they go 5-0. Now, across the end of the regular season. Now, what are the chances of doing that? I mean, the month of February has not inspired much confidence. They're 1-4. And Ross is absolutely right. I don't know if he was poking around there. He was right about it. I don't know what he was talking about the AP rankings, but the NC State is a quad 1 win all day long. I mean, they're ranked higher in the net than Carolina is. Just to go over it again, quad 1 win, beating a top 30 team at home, beating a top 50 team on a neutral court, beating a top 75 team on the road. State's like, I think 36 today in the net. They'd almost be a quad 1 win in Chapel Hill, which might be nice if they somehow found their way into the top 30, because that win over State from January would qualify as a quad 1. But I mean, I certainly am not a bracketologist, but I feel like if UNC is able to beat NC State on the road, which is a huge if, and if they can beat UVA in Chapel Hill on the 25th, another quad 1 game, I mean, you've got to like their chances of sneaking in as an at-large. Now, that granted, you cannot lose at Notre Dame or Florida State, but I think if you win those 2 games and you lose the Duke game, which no one wants to do, I think you'd still be okay, finishing 4-1 across the end of the regular season. Then you probably still have some work to do in Greensboro, Ross.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So you think they can go 4-1 as long as they beat Virginia and State because of how much value those games have?
To me, yes. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but yes. I mean, I don't know. I don't see Duke.
It's kind of an opinion too, right? I mean, it's not like it's right totally or wrong.
My opinion. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I've seen that anywhere else. I just feel like, the net really values road wins. So State's kind of like, it's got to happen, I think, Sunday. You're on the road. You could sweep NC State, which could be huge for ACC tournament seeding, or, there's some old school guys and gals on that NCAA tournament committee. You see that Carolina swept NC State, who looks like an NCAA tournament team. That has a lot of value. Now, it's not going to be easy at all, but I mean, it's doable. but to be in this position is kind of unbelievable.
That brings up our first listener question of the night. As Tommy alluded to on Twitter, tonight is Twitter question night. So I'm going to read this from Rhett Acock on Twitter. He asks, why don't quad wins lock in when you play? You shouldn't be punished or rewarded later on if that team starts to struggle or go on a run. I know probably we don't have the answer here, but that is a little bit of a weird system. Why do the quad ranges move around so much?
It's a good point. Let me just quickly get in there. It makes sense because, like, when you beat them, they were ranked this good. You know, it's not like you didn't beat them when they were ranked what you're going to get counted for, right?
Right.
Right.
Well, I heard them. I was watching Alabama and Tennessee last night before last, and they were giving credit for Alabama for beating number 1 North Carolina. They were talking about how big a win that was.
It was.
Then it was. I mean, is it now?
I mean, no, it's not the greatest win ever, but like,
good point.
Yeah, to Ross's point, though, like, yeah, like Carolina beat Ohio State when Ohio State was number 23 in the country and playing very well. They have gone off a cliff. Carolina is not playing Ohio State. I think Ohio State's lost 11 of their last 13 or 12 of their last 13. Carolina's not playing them now. They were playing them when they were in the best stretch of their season. But I just think with those things, Ken Palm, the net, all that stuff is just fluid. You know, the metrics move as the teams move. Sometimes it takes the metrics a while to catch up. You know, like the computers have loved Virginia Tech this year for whatever reason. And, you know, they've obviously not had a good year, but they've slowly caught up to Virginia Tech. You know, that's gotten to be a worse and worse loss for UNC. So it's a head scratcher, but I think that's what they try to keep it. You know, they try to update themselves in real time.
Somebody mentioned on the boards, they were saying, why is Indiana ranked? And they're 18-7 or whatever, but they're 5-6 against the quad 1 teams, and Carolina's 1-9. So it's just weird because back in the day, back in my time, you could make the tournament at 20-11 or 8. I think Carolina made it, in fact, in one of those years, 19-12 or something like that. I don't know if those days exist anymore. I guess we're going to find out because right now with 10 losses and 5 games left, and you got to think you pick up another one in the ACC tournament. But, yeah, it's a great question about, you know, suppose somebody beat Houston today and then Houston lost 4 starters and played this weekend and somebody else beat them. I mean, you're going to credit that team with the same? I don't understand the rankings here. And somebody in the chats mentioned Michigan. I hadn't paid enough attention to Michigan to be able to answer it. What's left? What more, John Bowman? And
what's left?
This is
we
also,
just got started.
I know, really. Also, this is a live watch party too. Carolina women and NC State.
Yeah,
keeping up with
I got
that a
another
little bit as well.
question. Got another question for us, since we're talking about the brackets and getting in the tournament. This is from Car Wash Country, Ross's favorite YouTube channel. Does winning a few ACC tournament games change things, like making the finals? Obviously need to win the regular season ones. But do you think an ACC tournament run could be the missing piece for this team's tournament resume?
Absolutely could be. I mean, it's not going to hurt to win 2 or 3 games. You know, in Greensboro, it's probably going to be needed. But, you know, there'll be neutral court games against relatively, I think if the tournament started today, UNC would play Syracuse in the 8-9 game. So if the tournament started today, you play Syracuse, who's not an NCAA tournament team, but still will be a worth, you know, you don't want to lose the game. Then you would probably play what, Pitt or UVA, which, you know, if you got UVA, it could be huge for your tournament chances. So absolutely. Yeah.
I just think it doesn't matter. The ACC tournament doesn't matter unless these next 5 games matter. And if they go 4-1 in these next 5 games, and one of those ones is not Notre Dame or Florida State, and then you win a couple games or a game and play well in the whatever it is, the second round in the ACC tournament or quarterfinals or however they do it, I think that's when it matters. But Carolina's got work to do before they even get there, because they could be in a position where they got to win it. And if this team wins 4-4 or 5-5, that would be one of the biggest miracles I've ever seen from North Carolina basketball, to be honest.
Not happening.
Another point is the teams they could play on Wednesday, Wake Forest or Syracuse, they're on the border too. They're on the bubble as well. I mean, Wake Forest is 17-9, Syracuse is 16-10, just like UNC. Both teams have won 3 straight though, so they're making runs here as UNC is falling. So you could be competing for a spot with Wake Forest and Syracuse in the tournament field, and you may play them in the ACC tournament. So those games become more crucial there.
Yeah,
but we're unsure how exactly the seedings will work out.
Yeah, and the thing about the tournament, they got to put somebody in it. And now there's 68 teams in the NCAA tournament. I mean, could you imagine a Carolina-Kentucky game in Dayton? I could see that as 11 seeds or 12 seeds.
That's what I was thinking the other night when we talked to Armando and he made the infamous, I'm stressed the hell out comment. Like, I was just sitting there listening to him and I was thinking, like, can you imagine the NCAA tournament without Armando Bacot and Oscar Tshiebwe from Kentucky? Like, there's like 2 preseason. These are 2 faces of college basketball coming into this year and 2 faces of NIL. And I don't, I was just, as he was sitting there talking the other night, and Slagle makes a good point too, that Syracuse, they got a nice chance against Duke this week. Appreciate that one, Slagle. You make a good point. I guess it's all fluid still, it obviously is, but that's just wild to think about. I mean, Armando has said it several times to us, but when you really think about it, Armando has said, this is not what we came back for. I mean, good Lord, of course it's not what they came back for, to crash and burn as a they would be the only preseason #1 ever to make the tournament since it expanded.
Setting all sorts of records, Carolina basketball, circa 2023. John, what more do we have? Let's keep it rolling. We just got started. It's 9-12.
Should we get into the Miami loss at all?
We can talk about it. I mean, they stunk. And Miami's Miami's got the type of team that I love. It's a
old school blue collar.
No, just some
dogs.
That part. They're like Houston, right? They can play. Their guards will bully you up. They've got dudes that can make plays, and they talk smack to you while they're doing it. Got no problem.
The guard. I mean, for a team like UNC, that's a nightmare matchup for a team like Carolina.
Yeah, so what did we see in that game? Why? I think Clemson's more of a paper tiger type team, so they had success against them. But why did Carolina fail so miserably in that first half or in that game against Miami, Adam? Besides the matchup, I mean, they stunk.
They did. They shot 5 for 31 from 3-point range. I mean, that's
without question. I will make this declaration. I will go on the Smith Center floor tomorrow and shoot better than 5 for 31 with people standing around because they were open looks.
I know John Bowman can. John Bowman can, whoever you put out there. Get Ross screening for him. Get solid screen, that base that Ross Martin has. But I mean, yeah, it is UNC season in a nutshell, in a sense. They played, when they had to have it the other day, when they had to stop the bleeding against Clemson, they did. They beat the crap out of them. They looked great. Caleb Love looked great. They hit 15 threes. They had the ball moving. The corner threes were there. People, Puff was hitting them, Pete Nance didn't, but, they hit 15 threes. The shots went in. 2 nights later, they could not throw it in the ocean. I mean, they shot, 16%? It was a season low. It went from matching a season high to a season low there in the space of 3 nights. So that's what I'm just getting some comments here. That was to me, that was a huge problem. And also Carolina couldn't exploit its size advantage because they can't make the shots. I mean, you've seen the still photos of how the teams pack it in against Armando, how the teams pack it in and try to choke off those driving lanes for Caleb and RJ. The shots are there, man. The shots were there against Duke when Ross and I had those great courtside seats. The shots are there. If they make them, Carolina wins games. If they don't, it's a hair-pulling situation.
Hey, remember maybe it was 6 weeks ago when we kind of bashed Nance?
You did, yeah. You were pretty hard on him.
I think John did too a little bit, and we got people push back on the boards. Not many people pushing back now. I mean, everybody wants Nance benched now. It's kind of, I think, he's on he's 1 for 18 in February, last 5 games from 3. I tweeted it out today earlier. I mean, he's shooting like 20-something% from the field. I mean, he's in a slump, and he's got to be thinking about it every time he shoots a 3. He's got to be thinking about. He has no confidence from deep. So, Hubert talked about it on Monday after the loss, and I think on his coach's show last night about tweaks and changes and stuff. And so we have them available tomorrow at 2 p.m. And it'll be interesting to see if we ask him about kind of lineup changes or tweaks, what he'll say, and then what we'll see on Sunday at NC State. Puff Johnson's right there. Who knows? More minutes for Tyler Nickel. It's also what John said at one point. Nance, Nance may have 7 more games in his college career. So it might be time to just get to the Puff Johnson generation here at UNC, or the Tyler Nickel or whatever. There's some lineup issues. I think it goes back to some recruiting mistakes, even during the Roy Williams era. Some transfer misses. I mean, there's some. Justin McCoy's not bringing anything. Dontrez Styles not bringing much. I don't know if that's his fault or I hold out hope for Dontrez Styles, but you got to trust in Hubert's decision not to play him. You look at that bench. There's just not much there. I saw someone way earlier say to start Washington. I don't really know if that's the move.
There it is, right there. It popped up again. Matt Gaskell.
Start I'll put that there. I don't know if he's ready for that. I think I do think he could give more time to relieve Baycott and stuff, but I'm not sure you throw Jalen Washington out there against DJ Burns. I think he would eat his lunch. So what do y'all think about any roster changes, tweaks? Not necessarily starting lineup, but just who should get some more time? Obviously, Pete Nance is in a world of slumps right now.
Yeah, I
don't think he'd change anything. I don't think he'd change anything.
I was going to pitch in about Nance specifically. I feel like the Nance discourse has kind of gone all the way around in a circle. I think it's important to remember too.
We lost Tommy. He's pissed about Nance.
You didn't lose me. I was checking.
Go ahead, John. Sorry, John.
Something smelled funky over in the man cave. Made sure nothing was like the TV was burning or something.
Oh boy. Hang in there, Tommy. I was gonna say
I didn't know how to do it. I'm redder than you are, Adam. Go ahead, get it off me. Let's go.
I was gonna say about Pete Nance. I think it's important to remember last season in conference play, he was a 46.2% 3-point shooter. So there's been a lot of talk about like Hubert never should have recruited. I've seen the little types of those sorts of things. Or, I think it's important to remember that I think the thought process around adding Pete Nance made a ton of sense, because on paper, especially that shooting mark from last season, which was a pretty healthy mark in terms of attempts and certainly in terms of his make percentage. The thought on paper of adding last year's Pete Nance to this year's team makes a ton of sense. But you have to sort of take stock of the situation. Where we are right now, it's February 16th, 2023. Pete Nance is not shooting the ball well. Right now in conference play, 24.3% for the North Carolina Tar Heels this season. So I think that's sort of where I'd leave it. Certainly I think his injuries, we've all seen him with the backpack, on him throughout the season. I think that's played a big part in it. And we just haven't gotten the Pete Nance that we saw last season for Northwestern. And I do reflect too on Puff Johnson specifically as a player, because it's amazing to me. He's a junior right now. He has at minimum 7 games until his senior season at North Carolina. It still feels like we haven't really seen him play. And I know that sounds weird to say, because obviously he's getting a pretty healthy number of minutes. But I feel like his biggest moment in his 3 seasons as a Tar Heel came in the national championship game. And that was just sort of a supporting cast role anyways. Like, I would love to see Puff get 35 minutes for a consistent stretch here at the end of the season, just to sort of see what you have in him. Because I feel like I still really don't know what Puff Johnson is as a player. I feel like he hasn't played consistently enough and hasn't had enough opportunity for the fan base to evaluate him as a player. So that's kind of my point there about Nance and Puff. I'm curious about your thoughts there.
John, I'm glad you got in there because I was going to ask you about how do you shoot 1 for 18 when you're as good as he is? I mean, but you're talking about Puff Johnson getting 35 minutes a game. John, he'll foul out. Like, I mean, he ain't going to get 35 minutes a game. He will get, God bless him. I mean, he throws his body all over the place. He'll get in foul trouble.
I think John just means, 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Consistently.
I want to see him play. Also, to Connor O'Neill's point, you need to look at the minutes that UNC starters are playing. They're playing a lot of minutes over on this team. They might not be playing that much at Wake Forest, but they are for North Carolina.
Did you see who helped Carolina win the game in Raleigh last year?
Boom.
Puff Johnson.
Because RJ and Caleb, if my memory serves, did not shoot it well in Raleigh, and Puff came out and hit 2 or 3 threes.
Career high 16 points. 2 for 4 from 3.
Yep.
I wrote it in an article already. So,
wow, you read my mind. Did I read that from your article? No, I remember that game.
The article's not been published yet.
Oh,
maybe a little foreshadowing of potential.
You should do an article on that, Ross. I think it'd be a good one.
Leaky got hurt, and people were concerned that it was bad. You remember? Like, that's why Puff played all those minutes. Leaky got hurt, and Carolina had a dang Saturday, Monday, big Monday turnaround. And they're like, oh, my Lord, Leaky's, as well as been playing defensively, he might be done because it was a bad NC State team. Carolina was rolling. Armando had a great day. Everybody played well. Brady Manick.
They blew them out that game too, pretty much.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking about it today, Ross, that you think about when we were there last year at State, and it was a bad State team. People thought Keats might get fired. It had to be maybe the worst turnout I've seen for a State Carolina game.
I was there in primo Wolfpacker seats.
I mean,
they were given to us. They were like,
they were unenthused. Ross and I ended up getting good seats because people were not enthused about it.
I'm scared on being the hockey seats on Sunday.
I think I'll probably
NC State's a little weird. So there's a couple seats around the court, right? The end zone, baseline, and maybe a little bit. I've sat on the side too, like next to like donors, and then everybody else is up in the hockey press box, which is above the 5th level, 6th level, however level those are. I mean, it's way up there.
Yeah, roof.
So you're either really good or you're way up there, and so you just pray that you're by the court. And yeah, I don't know where you're going with that, Adam, but compare last year's what's going to be like on Sunday.
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah, I mean they're pissed about what happened in Chapel Hill. That fan base is a great fan base when they have a winner. They got everybody lives in Raleigh. No one, Raleigh, East North Carolina. There's not many. Their alumni base is very concentrated. They're all going to be there. They hate Carolina. They have a pretty good team this year, and they have a chance to win. So how pissed they are at what happened in Chapel Hill. The foul on Baby T, all that stuff. How much they hate Carolina. So it's going to be rowdy and rabid. 1 p.m. Good thing it's not a night game with those maniacs drinking.
The Hurricanes play Saturday night, and it'll be a straight drink fest all the way through.
It's going to be wild around that area. Yeah.
We're going to the hockey game. I would not stay. I would stay for the basketball game because I like going.
You got tickets, Tommy?
Yeah, bought them for face value when they went on sale. So if anybody wants to pay me what they're going for, I might have to talk to somebody.
What are they going for now?
Our seats probably could get $500 a piece for them.
Damn. John, I might be there on Monday for UNC hockey versus NC State hockey.
Yeah, I'd like to go to that. How does that work? Do you just show up?
I guess. John,
I have to check that out.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Season sweep for the Carolina hockey team. Going for it.
John and I hang out outside of work. We hung out for the Super Bowl. Any guesses as to what John brought to the Super Bowl party as his
my word.
Pita chips and hummus.
No. Any guesses?
I can't get in trouble for 2 straight weeks for my food.
Did you bring cookout catered?
This is to share with people.
What'd you bring?
Bad radio. He brought a bucket of chicken.
Fried chicken.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
from Harris Teeter. I picked it up on the way up.
At least it wasn't Food Lion. Even though you got to do what you got to do, John. Don't let these people steal your shine. They invite you over and then dog you publicly.
Right,
viewers-
Ross is creating content by
Yeah.
he's just fawning away.
The viewers have gotten to know way too much about my diet these last 2 weeks. Cookout and fried chicken. I'm going to pull up another question.
You can't tell from here, but John is like 6'8", 240.
That's right.
And he's just got a weird filter on his camera. Go ahead, John.
I'm gonna take this question from Slagle and kind of open it up a little bit here before we take our ad break. So we are 5 games left in the season. What do you think has gone sideways for this team? Is it as simple as the shooting has regressed? That's what Slagle proposes. What do you think it is that's gone sideways for UNC basketball this season?
I'll start. I think it's Baycott's a little off, and the fact that they can double team, triple team him with no consequences because they don't have the shooters. And Leaky, they don't have the shooters, and they haven't shot well, and that's affected the offense. It affects everything. When you can't spread it, they don't respect your shots, and then you miss open threes. It's open threes. And think about Duke, Pitt. They hit an open three in those games. They win. Hit a couple more threes against Miami. They could win that game too. I think it's based on that, and that it has affected Baycott as well. Caleb's played a little bit better recently. RJ looked okay against Miami, but I think it's shooting and which has affected Baycott's ability to be dominant down low.
I think the injuries have played a factor. Like Ross, you remember we asked, I asked Hubert one of those Fridays just if he hadn't pushed the right buttons with his team, and he immediately said, I just think that the injuries haven't allowed me to. I'm paraphrasing that. He didn't say allowed me to, but he said the injuries, all the guys that have been hurt. I don't know if him saying the injuries is one reason Puff maybe fell out. He's been injured twice this season. So and Armando and RJ. Think about RJ. I mean, if he doesn't get beaten up the way he did at Syracuse, they might not win that game. But if he doesn't get beaten up the way he did at Syracuse, they might not lose the Pitt and Duke games after the Syracuse game, because that finger has really bothered him. Ross and I were looking at it the other day. It's all taped up. His right index finger on his shooting hand.
I would not say all taped up.
Okay, what would you say?
It's got a piece of tape on it.
Okay, there's pieces of tape on it.
Just to be accurate.
This is why eyewitness testimony, folks.
I took a photo of it and sent it to my best friend Ross Martin so he could get a look at it.
Yeah.
Well, share it here. Throw it up on.
All taped up seems like it's got wrapped with gauze and tape and all. You're right. Stuff.
Ross is right. It's not all taped up. I apologize. Please let me retract it.
He did not have a club finger.
I don't think that Pete Nance's back is fine. After the Wake Forest game, which seems like a long time ago, but wasn't, he was hobbling around. He was hobbling around. I just don't think he is right. Jalen Washington had a long, there we go, up, HIPAA.
That is a lot of, lot of tape.
Careful, Tommy.
I had to be careful which photos to show.
Yeah, I think so.
Lord have mercy. We were violating YouTube.
For those listening, I showed RJ's finger. It's not HIPAA. He's available to the public.
I was joking.
Yeah.
You made me nervous, though.
I don't want to get in trouble.
But, Jalen Washington's been a long road back from those knee surgeries, and I just don't know how many minutes he can play. I just think I think the injuries are a factor, and I just think their confidence has think about how confident. Look at how this team looked when they beat Duke at Duke last year. You could tell when they blew out Marquette. They blew them the heck out of there to start the NCAA tournament. Look how good they played against Baylor before Manick got ejected. They were playing at a level they had never played before, and it's all rolled into this one big ball of pressure, and they feel it. It's not in a good place right now.
Let me throw a question up from Tina, or a comment up from Tina Williams, because she's a regular, and I agree with this. What do we think about that? Hubert hasn't played the non-starters enough for them to have confidence. My question would be, okay, there have been a lot of injuries. Do we really think the rotation would have been a ton different if there were not the injuries? I don't know if you can say that. I agree that I think R.J. Davis, one of the tough little nut plays, derailed whatever mojo positive that they had going on against Syracuse when he took Judah Mintz, looked like Zab Judah. North Carolina people should know who that is, the boxer.
I got the reference.
You did nice. See,
Yeah,
you didn't get it. And that's a Southview guy too. Anyway, I think injuries have mattered, but I don't know if the rotation's much different without
Hey,
injuries.
throw that up there again. I got it.
You got it.
Hubert hasn't played the non-stars enough. Yeah. Goes back. I don't know where I said this on. It might have been a radio show or something, but I said that, yeah, I mean, he doesn't play. I think I said on this show last week, he hasn't played the freshmen and sophomores enough early in the season to build confidence in them and in themselves to play them now when he needs them. That's what Roy did. Roy would always play everybody in the first 10, 15 games so that he kind of knew what he had and give them some in-game confidence so that by the time February, March came around, he could use them. And he always would play anybody he needed in the game. He'd always make sure to play them in the first half. I always thought that was kind of a cool little wrinkle he did, just so they kind of got the jitters out and got a little sweat going. So if he needed them late in the second, they kind of were ready and not cold off the bench.
I think too, it's interesting. Speaking of that exact same thing, it was interesting when at the end of the game, Hubert needed his offensive lineup. He brought in Tyler Nickel. He needed his defensive lineup. He brought in Seth Trimble. Where was that throughout the whole game? If you want to achieve those two goals. One more point before you do the ad read, Ross, about kind of where this team has gone wrong this season. I'm going to throw up this comment from Matt. The problem with this team is we do not have a true point guard. That comment from Matt, I think, really resonates for me. That was one thing that stood out, especially when UNC was trying to enter the ball into the post against Miami to try to feed Armando Bacot. No team is going to make it easy on you to just sort of lob the ball down to Armando Bacot, especially when you don't have shooters surrounding him. It takes a little bit of creativity and vision and coordination. You could also say play calling there too, but it takes a little bit of all of those things in order to get Armando Bacot the ball in the right spots so that he's able to then score. And I think on Monday against Miami and really throughout the whole season, UNC has missed that pass first point guard person who can create shots consistently for others, because we've seen Caleb Love do that inconsistently, not for sustained stretches. So I think that's a good point by Matt that I wanted to get in there in terms of why this season has maybe gone wrong for UNC.
Do an ad read, Ross. I've got some thoughts on the point guard.
Yeah, I mean, I think RJ's point guard. All right, we'll get back to it, guys. Get some questions in the queue here. We'll go questions heavy on the back half of the show. We'll talk to you about Johnny T-shirt, JohnnyT-shirt.com, the sponsor for the Inside Carolina podcast on the beat. If you are an Inside Carolina subscriber, if you're not, you need to be. Go to the premium boards. You get 10% off your order on JohnnyT-shirt.com and in person at Johnny T-shirt right on Franklin Street. Independently owned, local. Check them out. Johnny T-shirt, JohnnyT-shirt.com. Great one-stop shop for all your UNC apparel needs. Tommy said baseball jerseys, basketball jerseys, T-shirts, hats, gifts, anything. They have a packed store there on Franklin. Great customer service online. Johnny T-shirt, JohnnyT-shirt.com. We'll get some national ads in. Be right back with more On the Beat live here on Inside Carolina Podcasts.
I'll bring it back in. Welcome back on the Beat Live. More point guard discussion here. Carolina, in case anybody's wondered, we've sort of gone with the musical theme the last couple of weeks. Living on the Edge. Carolina is definitely there on Bubble Talk. By the way, update on Carolina women. It's at commercial break right now. I think they're up 10 with about 6 minutes left over in that little gym in Raleigh. It's got people so fired up. Reynolds Coliseum was awesome. I covered State Carolina over there before they moved to PNC. That place was, you talking about a zoo.
So did the men play there until when?
The men played there until PNC opened. So what's PNC, 23 years old?
Yeah, I think it was 99 it opened.
So they're playing in like a 6,000, 7,000 person gym.
It was longer.
Over there when I was in school.
Yeah, but it was longer. They've chopped off the ends now and done all the fancy stuff on one end.
Oh, it looks great now.
But it was kind of like the Greensboro Coliseum, where it was longer. It was narrow on the sides, but it was longer. And they had these portable seats, built up where the students sat, and Ronald Curry and Ed Cota were goading the crowd in the last game in Reynolds there. And JB and I were sitting on press row right there on the end zone where you guys talked about where you can sit on the court. And students were waving sections of chairs, like raising hell about it. And pretty crazy environment over there. I'd put that up against Coalfield House and Cameron any day of the week in Reynolds. Anyway, point guard. Somebody said RJ is the point guard. RJ is the point guard, but I'm not sure RJ is a point guard. And what's gotten me watching this team, and Adam, you can get in if you want, or whoever, is they can't make basic entry passes consistently. And how many times have we seen Carolina just live with somebody like Kendall Marshall or Ed Cota or those type guys that could actually make consistent entry passes to where the big men wanted it, and they haven't done it. I mean, it is a chore to see them get the ball to Baycott. Baycott's been open all the time, and he doesn't get the ball. And if he gets it late. That, for me, watching is why Elliot Cadeau becomes such a major recruit, whether he comes next year or the year after, is get somebody who can throw the ball down to the bigs. But I don't know if Hubert Davis plays that way or not. What do you think, Adam?
Well, is Cadeau going to have a big to throw it to?
That's a valid question.
I was thinking about when you were talking about your Reynolds memories. One of my memories of Reynolds Coliseum always would be going over there and your feet sticking to the floor because of how much soda and beer and stuff had been spilled on it. Yeah, you have like your sneakers on or whatever, and you're whack, whack, whack. I mean, your feet would stick to the floor.
And or puke, I'm sure.
Yeah, all sorts of fluids and things of that nature. But my thing I was thinking about with the point guard thing is what sucks is that this thing is all set up. If you wanted to be an I told you so type of person, which there's a lot of them out there on the internet, I mean, you could just have at it with this UNC team. Because what I was thinking was, you remember when Hubert Davis said in the preseason he wants Caleb Love to lead the ACC in assists? That ain't happening at all. And obviously you could throw RJ Davis saying championship or bust. I mean, there have been some yikes type statements that you could, bulletin board material that, I'm sure teams heard and stuff. But no, Caleb Love is not leading the ACC in assists.
He has 76 assists this year. He doesn't lead. RJ leads the team with 85. What's 76 divided by 26?
They're both averaging like 3.1. I mean, it's not very pretty.
Well, not only that, in assists over field goals made in conference only, UNC ranks last per Ken Pom. That's 15 out of 15 teams. So that shows they're just not creating chances consistently for each other.
And I would disagree respectfully with the OG Tommy Ashley in that I just think, I know I sound like I'm beating a dead horse. I just think that these teams pack it in on Armando and push him out. There was a catch he had against Miami the other night where he was already in the corner when he caught it. I mean, he was like, they double teamed him in the corner because he just, they're packed. I mean, as Roy Williams said, it would look a lot better if the ball went in the basket. I mean, I just think that they, if they somehow could get the type of performance they had against Clemson, I'm laughing because, of course, they beat everybody if they played that way. That just loosened so many things up. I just think this team, as it is currently constructed, it just goes the way Caleb Love goes, to oversimplify it. I just think he is – I know we've talked about RJ being the most important player. I don't disagree with that. I just think that if Caleb Love plays well, Carolina is going to have a chance to beat anyone. And if he struggles, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and not a good one.
I thought he played well the last couple games, though, until he got shot happy there in the second half.
He played great against Miami. Clemson. He played amazing against Clemson. He was like 2 for 12 from 3 against Miami.
Yeah. A lot of those coming very late. I think, they're making it really hard for Armando. It's so tough. Every possession is tough for him. And then he gets double team, triple team. The catch is tough. Movement's tough. And another thing is this team does not get easy baskets. There's not much transition. I've talked about this before. There's not that many kind of just easy dunks. The secondary break where you kind of score before the defense is set. There's not many transition. When's the last? There's not many just runouts. Occasionally, he'll get leaky in the passing lane. He'll get a run out. There's just not many of those though. And I mean, you get 10 or 12 points in transition. It makes things a lot bit. He's quicker to get to 60 and 70 that way. So yeah, and then like Adam said, making shots loosens everything up. It looked kind of good when RJ was driving in the first half against. I mean, they looked pretty good in the first half against Miami. I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, they were down 1. I think Hubert said it, down 1. The way they were playing, he would take that every day. RJ was driving, Caleb was driving, and then just Miami went on a big run, and UNC had no answer. So yeah, I think at this point, they are what they are. That this team is what it is. My personal thing, I was like, all right, see if they can beat Clemson. They did. I was like, all right, I'm gonna give them one more chance. If they can beat Miami, then I'm kind of back in on this team, and they kind of let you down now. So now it moves on to State, like we said, but bringing it back to the beginning of the show, the window is closing, and you lose at State. Whew.
Yeah, they are kind of who they are at this point. You can only have one post-game 37-minute locker room meeting. You can only have one players-only meeting in the middle of the season. You've kind of done that. At this point, you are who you are. If you're being positive, you're trying to take a positive glass half full look at it, you could say this team has done some of their best work when their back is up against the wall. When they were making that run late last season, they needed to win in February and March to get into the NCAA tournament last year. They needed to survive in advance in the NCAA tournament, and they did that. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, that's the positive spin. But the reality is this team is who they are. The last 5 games, I don't think we're going to see anything, majorly different. I don't think there's a 5-game winning streak coming for this basketball team.
One thing for State, I mean, this team should be very much rested. Any injuries or tweaks, you have 6 whole days to heal, right? Monday to Sunday, first Sunday game of the year, to my memory. So, and State's coming off a loss as well. They lost on Tuesday night to Syracuse on the road. So both teams coming off losses. So, I'm sure he will have them motivated. Everybody knows what's at stake. This team is not dumb. Adam, what do you think about how Hubert handled the post-game press conference? I mean, he was pretty honest, I thought, a little more forthcoming with some of his answers and what he said. I mean, it wasn't this kind of quiet thing like against Wake. I thought that was a little telling. Any thoughts on how he handled the press conference? That just came to mind.
Yeah, it goes into what we're talking about with you and John saying this team is sort of what it is as it's constructed. I thought Hubert did not do it, but I thought he essentially shrugged and said, guys, we're the worst shooting team in the ACC from 3-point range. He did not say it, but he said, well, what do you expect? He almost said the law of averages caught up with us after we got so dang hot against Clemson, is what he essentially said without saying it.
Multiple times he just said, look, we got to make shots. I mean, it is it.
Yeah.
And we have to be man enough to step up and make shots. I think I said that in at least 2 or 3 answers. That's kind of, you have to make shots. And so he knows that. And at some point, the coach can only do too much, can only do so much. You kind of, all right, you got some open threes here. We kind of drew it up to you. Some people are going to get on Hubert, of course, because, he's the head coach. And so he deserves a lot of the blame, but you got to make open threes.
I was thinking about it as you were talking, Ross. I mean, I know you said it a couple of times. I just think it's such a good point that, this team struggles to get easy baskets. I mean, it sounds such a simple thing to say, but goodness, they are just that they add up. It's such a help to get that. And I wonder, now I could be way overthinking this, galaxy braining it here, but if you're going to play 35 minutes a game, if you're going to play 38 minutes a game, do you pace yourself? Does this team, I've just thought about this on the fly, so I've not really hammered it out in my head. Does this team pace itself knowing that, think about it when you play basketball. Sometimes you need to catch a breath. I mean, I wonder if they just pace themselves because they don't run. I'm not sure what their tempo numbers are. I should have looked that up, but I mean, it's not.
Aren't they terrible on tempo?
Kyle Lawson out there running the break.
Maybe too, a little bit of it is, it was the same thing last season, and last season was a long season. They went last year from November essentially until April. They played a lot of games. They played a lot of minutes. So there's maybe a little bit of a cumulative effect to the Knicks, and the Knacks are starting to add up a little bit. I do want to bring in another Twitter question here because this is our Twitter episode. We're answering questions from Twitter users. This is from @Shannon Benez. Speculate about what next season's starting five will look like. There's already been a few comments about that too here in the chat pod. So at this point, let's recklessly speculate about next season.
Score update real quick. 2:14 left, 57-53. UNC's up 4 with 2:14 left in the game. I'm watching it on the little game cast here.
Yep, and they were up 55-45, and State has now cut it to 3.
57-54.
Seconds.
I like this Kayla McPherson girl.
Yeah, they're playing hard. It's pretty intense. They got more floor burns in the fourth quarter than Carolina men have in the past month.
All right, answer your question, John. I think the starting lineup is RJ Davis at the point guard, transfer at the shooting guard, unnamed transfer at the small forward, Puff Johnson at the 4, and Jalen Washington at the 5.
Shout out Albert Tucci, by the way, for getting on Ken Palm. I've got Ken Palm up right here, but I didn't look, Albert. You're the man.
I guess DeMarco Dunn would be it, but they need a shooter. They need a hot shot scorer in the transfer portal. If you're losing Caleb Love, I mean, Caleb Love could come back. I don't know what that guy's thinking. Armando Bacot could come back. There'd be a lot of Armando Bacot and Caleb Love.
I know. I have no idea. Like, I think you made a good stab at it, Ross. Like, how about Kadu? Does he reclass? Am I saying his name right? I have no idea. Kadu. Easy,
like
easy.
water.
Swedish. He's Haitian Swedish.
Right. Like, yeah, that's okay.
Folks in the chat or on this or listening need to check out Sherelle Scoop, Inside Carolina Premium Sherelle Scoop. A lot of discussion about that. I don't like reclasses. I mean, even though those guys are older, I mean, we've seen too many examples of reclasses not working out. But
Slagle had RJ, Love, Puff, Washington Bacot. I don't know if Washington Bacot on the same court.
I mean, that could be possible.
That's two kind of non-shooters. You need a shooter at the 4. Like, that's what we're talking about here. When they were successful, Brady Manick was at the 4, banging threes, bang, bang, MF. And now you have Pete Nance at the 4, and look what's happening. So you need a shooter at the 4. That's the design of this offense.
He's joking you up. He said in the chat.
Is he?
It is time for there to be some fresh blood in North Carolina's team. I mean, give credit.
Not a shooter. Slagle says Washington shooter. He hasn't had a 3 all season.
Yeah,
like, that's my thing. Like, when is Jalen Washington going to make a 3? I mean, like, I think he's got a great touch. You know, he's got a nice 10, 12, 15-foot touch. But when he steps out the 3, Ross, he hasn't made a 3, right? Like, he's
only attempted like 5 or 6, but
yeah.
State just cut it to 1, 22 seconds.
Should we stop the pod and go watch it?
No, because it's about to be over. Kayla McPherson going to the line. I don't know how they do the line. No, Carolina's. I don't know how they do it in women's. Yep, she's on the one-on-one. 17 seconds left. Up 1 in Raleigh.
Play-by-play, Tom.
I love it.
I've got it on. I'm looking at it on, ESPN Plus and ACC Network and the streaming app. That's all good stuff.
I think we need to. I mean, it's not going to be easy to do, but I think it's.
I
think we all need to come to the understanding that Brady Manick was like a unicorn. Like, I mean, what did he make last year? Like 98 threes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's just it's 6'9".
The problem is Carolina fans keep expecting Brady Manick to walk out there. It's like the 3-point Jesus. He's not on the team anymore. Carolina gets open shots, right? And this is one thing that I've got I'll give Hubert some credit for, and Adrian Atkinson talked about it on his. They get open looks. Now, who's supposed to make them make it? You got Jeff Lebo. We've talked about this multiple times. Hubert Davis and Jeff Lebo. Why can't they shoot? Do we agree that they get coaching? Right?
Oh, God, they get – I mean, Lebo and Caleb Love, when we get to be around there, Lebo and Caleb Love are out there before every practice. Lebo's got like those, almost looks like dummy net things set up where it almost looks like if you're pitching batting practice, what you would throw behind. Like he's got those set up for Caleb to shoot all over the court. I mean, it's not like they don't work. It's not like they don't want it. I mean, like this is why we love sports. You never know what the hell's going to happen. And this team is spinning its wheels. But as far as next year goes, I have no clue. I mean,
I think it needs to be a fresh set of downs. It's like getting that first down on the 4th and 1.
I don't disagree with you, but the way Hubert is about things, I think he would want everyone, Hubert would want everyone back. Come back. Like, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do.
This is what I would do if I was the coach. I'd kick Justin McCoy off. I'd kick Will Shaver off. I'd take if you want to win games, I'd take some more freshmen. I'd go take a chance on some top one, outside the 100 shooter. I would get a couple shooters in there. And if one hits, you're good. It's like taking 2 quarterbacks in a class. You just hope one hits. Justin McCoy is not going to play. Will Shaver's not going to play. Zayden High, I don't think is going to be very good either. So I'm not sure. He's coming in anyway. Give him a shot. And then, if Baycott wouldn't come back, I would take him back. And get some fresh guys and get some more freshmen in here and see what works.
What would you do if Caleb Love wanted to come back?
I mean, I like Caleb Love. I just think kind of his run is, it's kind of he's run his course. But look, he's a good when he's on, he's on. So, I would take him back.
We're getting to the good stuff here at 9:52.
Sorry about that, Ross.
We need to get out of there.
Like, I just don't see Hubert being like, all right, get the hell out.
Yeah, Well, this is a tough decision. CEOs have to make tough decisions.
Yeah,
you're the CEO of the program, and Dontrez Styles, I would imagine. I think he should transfer. I would transfer if I was him. I'd go to East Carolina and start for the next 3 years or 2 years, whatever he has left. And then UNC gets a fresh start with a lot more bodies in there to see what you have. They know that Justin McCoy and Will Shaver are not good. And who knows who are the other freshmen?
Simeon Wilcher's coming in.
Yeah,
he'll be pretty good.
I think they like Seth Trimble, obviously, and Tyler Nickel. I think they like him. Jalen Washington. I think that's it, right? Oh, then Shaver, yeah.
I will say
if
too.
Seth Trimble, you got Simeon Wilcher coming in, and then Cadeau coming in. Like,
you just got to get shooters. Like they still don't have any shooters coming in. Like,
right,
they're gonna have to add shooters in the transfer portal.
I will say too, like in the era of the transfer portal, it's very easy to remake your team on the fly. Like you look across the college basketball landscape. Take a team like Missouri, for example. They basically just said, "Hey, transfers, come on in." They have like 9 transfers. They have totally remade their team, and now they're went from essentially worst to middle of the pack in the SEC. But I say that, exactly. I say that to say you can do a lot with your roster. You can change a lot in the offseason. I don't know if there's an appetite though to do that from Hubert Davis, Ross.
Tie ball. Oh, they just turned it over. Oh my God.
Game winning layup.
Missed the layup. Whew. Okay, what happened? It was tied 62-62. UNC had the inbounds with 9 seconds left, and they turned it over. And then the NC State player missed like a pretty much open layup. It was challenged. And now it's 0.7 left. It was overtime. Should we get out of here, Tommy?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Wow.
Overtime, yeah. There's 0.7 left.
Everyone go watch ACC Network.
Yeah, ACC Network, Carolina women, 0.7 seconds left. I believe Carolina has the ball.
Yes.
They are
they got to go to the full court? I don't know.
Yeah, they got to go full court. They're not going to get there. Look, Deja Kelly challenged. She blew the layup. Deja Kelly didn't even touch her. Let's see. Hold on, State. Maybe a fingernail.
All right.
No, it's good radio. People getting live play-by-play action on Inside
the podcast listeners are going to be a little confused. Hey, that's okay.
Join us on YouTube. You never know what you're going to get. Let's get out of here. Carolina women, 62-all. If you're watching us, go watch them. We're going to get out of here. Johnny T-shirt, JohnnyT-shirt.com sponsors us. Ross and Adam will have state basketball coverage on Sunday. We've got Inside Carolina Live Saturday morning from 10 to 12. Jawad Williams will join that show. Jawad will say some things. We'll have to see what Jawad has to say about this North Carolina team. Adam, Ross, John.
Go watch Tommy's baseball video, too. He did a great job. Interviewed Scott Forbes. Good job.
Oh, yeah. Baseball season starting tomorrow.
At James comment. We see you, Pat.
Let's get in everything. Go watch Carolina baseball.
Yeah, Tommy's our baseball guy. He's gonna be
All
at
right, see you
every
guys.
game this year. So we got it. All right, see ya.
Peace.